Hello everybody, if we haven't met before, my name's Jan James and I am speaking to you from Empowered Empaths headquarters. Little sign that's up there on the wall, it's a little bit in the distance but you can just make it out. I'm here to help and support you as an empath to get you out of the curse and into the gift, and that's actually what an empath is supposed to be. There's a lot of messages out there that tell you that this is difficult, this is hard, and you can often buy into these messages and they're false. A lot of the things that you struggle with are more human issues that you can actually resolve so that you're not finding life difficult, you're not struggling, and it's so easy to think that the reason for the struggle is because you're an empath. And that is because empaths struggle with a lot of things and they're very much based on emotion and energy. But as a very powerful human being, you can actually change this around so that it is not a problem. And this is my message to you. You absolutely do not have to suffer. I wrote a blog recently that I'd like to share with you here. And this is the 5 things that I wish I'd have known when I discovered that I was an empath. It would have saved me so much pain and so much heartache, but I didn't know. And this is why I want to share this with you now, to assist you as you move through, whether you've just realised you're an empath or whether you're feeling a little bit lost with it all and you'd still like to know what it's all about and what you can do about it. The number one thing I wished I'd have known was that all of my pain came from the way that I was thinking, and it wasn't because I was an empath at all. Now, I didn't know this and I was stuck in it for more years than I care to remember. I was seeking and searching answers constantly, self-help books on the internet, wherever I could get information I was grabbing at it as a lifeline really to sort of help me to get through what was an intense and painful struggle. Now, there was one thing I did find helpful from the books that I read when I was seeking help. I say helpful, sort of, but not. And the sentence went something like this: if you're not able to separate your energy from someone else's, then the problem is due to something else. So what was that something else? It was so frustrating. It's like, well, that's not helpful. And I couldn't find the answers. And it took me many years to discover the answers to this question, what that something else was. Now, it may be hard to imagine at this point, yet all of the problems that you experience as an empath are due to the way that you think. And if you can change the way you think, which you can, you may need help to do that, but you can absolutely do it, then the problems would dissipate and you could be in control of how you're feeling. So this is my number one in the things that I wish I'd have known. It would have allowed me to seek healing where it was needed, rather than going down the garden path that led to nowhere, believing it was because I was an empath, I couldn't change the fact that I was an empath, therefore I was stuck with all this pain. So if I'd have realised that it was actually my thinking about it that was the problem, I could have actually changed that and got the help to do it. The extra difficulty for any empath today is, as I said before, the sheer volume of negative messages out there about it. The label of empath seems to fit the pain and difficulty that you experience nicely. And when everyone else seems to be blaming that for everything too, you can easily believe that this is what the problem is. This, unfortunately, will keep you very stuck. Pain comes from the way that you're thinking. Full stop. You know, the perceptions and the meanings you give to things create internal responses, whether that's positive, neutral, or negative. Well, you might be thinking, well, okay, go with that. Well, what about energy? You know, this is a problem for empaths. Yes, empaths experience energy in a way that most people don't, but it doesn't have to be a problem. Again, this is about shifting perceptions around what energy is, how it's affecting you, and what you believe about yourself. This all sorts that out. Yes, you'll still feel energy, but if it doesn't affect you negatively, how much of a problem would it be? This is possible for you, lovely empath. All of your superpowers are a gift. Your perception of them may need to be shifted so that you get comfortable with that. But it's not the gift, it's not the energy that causes you pain, it's your thinking about it. I wish I'd have known that. I really wished I had, because it would have meant that I'd have been seeking a solution where it needed to be sought, rather than down that I'm stuck in the empath thing that's out there. Number 2 of the things that I wish I'd known when I discovered I was an empath, and this is that I was okay. I wish I'd have known that I was okay. That fundamentally I was a normal person and not a freak. Can you relate? I know you can, lovely empath. It's not a very nice thing to go through, is it? It's very, very painful. And I wish I'd had somebody there to tell me that I wasn't a freak, that I was perfectly normal. That would have been amazing, which is why I'm here telling you this now. I wish someone would have told me that there was other people like me, that I wasn't alone, and that I wasn't a freak of nature. I wish I could have known that energy really is a thing, and having it all explained to me. That would have been wonderful. It would have been also so lovely to know that all people feel energy. This is not a skill restricted to empaths. To understand that just some people are more tuned in than others, including me, and that my intuitive nature was okay. The responses I was getting when I was growing up was that it wasn't okay. People didn't like it. So I just labelled that as there's something wrong with me. Whereas in fact, to be caring, emotional, sensitive and honest is of absolute value. It's nothing to be ashamed of. In fact, it's the opposite. It's something to be very, very proud of. And I wish I'd have known that. So I want to tell you that here and now. Be proud. Number 3 on the list of things I'd wish I'd known, that I was good enough. At the point I was discovering that I was an empath, I developed a lot of beliefs about myself that were painful, and they resulted in a very low self-worth. Now, I wish I'd have known that I was good enough. That would have saved so much pain on its own. Now, if you're in any doubt about this, you are good enough. You're told. How could you not be? You're here in a physical body with a spirit, soul, universal connection, whatever you call it. You know, you were born complete. You were born complete. A clean slate. Yeah, I suppose there may be past life stuff going on here. A whole new video on that to come. But you don't have any negative beliefs about yourself when you're born. You're not lying in your cot thinking, my hair's a mess today. Or, no one likes me. I must be a crappy person. You're not lying there in your cot thinking that, are you? You grow and you take on other people's beliefs. You experience things that you take personally, all children do. And you start to define yourself based on that, based on the experiences around you. There was never anything fundamentally wrong with you. They're just beliefs that you have learned along the way. Healing, by the way, is an unpicking process. There is nothing for you to find. There's nothing out there that you need to grab hold of to feel better. It's a removing of the false beliefs you have about who you are, the beliefs you have about life, the beliefs you have about everything that can be holding you back in some way. What, it could be referred to as limiting beliefs. So it's about taking those off. You can imagine they sort of come on you in layers, and then working with me or whoever you wanted to work with will help you to unpick those layers, and you discover there's the bright and shiny you underneath all along, has been there just waiting to take off this stuff. So there's nothing that you need to change fundamentally about who you are. Discovering yourself is taking away some false beliefs that you have adopted for yourself over the years. Number 4 of things I wish I'd known is that what other people say and do is all about them, and it wasn't because of me. I wish I could have known that then. So I'm telling you about it now. I wish I'd have known that my parents were doing the best that they could, but that they didn't know everything. See, I thought they did. All children think their parents know everything. I didn't know that they got it wrong sometimes. I wish I could have known that their want for me to be happy didn't quite match up to the way they acted. I wish I could have known that. I wish I'd have known that their actions and the actions of anybody else were nothing to do with me at all, but everything to do with them. Chances are that the people you were surrounded by growing up couldn't help you. They may have been, or possibly, emotionally unavailable and couldn't handle the ball of emotion that was you. That was scary. You know, to people who can't handle emotion, that's scary. You know, people do the best they can with the tools and skills that they've got. And if they haven't been taught stuff, then they won't be able to teach you. Most times people will just repeat their own parents' style and raise their kids as they were themselves raised. So your parents possibly were doing that. This pattern of how to parent is stored unconsciously and runs on automatic. This could be, you know, if you've got children yourself, you'll find yourself saying to your children the things that your parents said to you, and you can hear it coming out of your mouth. You think, oh, I'm being my mum, I'm being my dad. This is because it's stored unconsciously and runs on automatic. The majority of people are unaware of how they act, including you. I know, it's a revelation. Oftentimes, people cannot see the consequences of their actions and that their actions will produce a certain result. Obviously, I'm talking emotionally here. Morals guide us in a greater sense, but in terms of telling a child off or criticising them, for example, you can be unaware of the pain and damage to a self-esteem felt by a child. And the same can be said for your parents towards you. They would not have done it if they knew how to do better, because that is not the result they would have wanted for you. You've no doubt experienced this to some degree. Number 5 of the things I wish I'd known: that it was okay to reach out for help. When you sort of bring yourself up emotionally, you tend to think that asking for help is a negative thing because of the consequences you've had. So you end up being a bit self-sufficient and think that you've got to do everything on your own. Now, I know this happened to me. I wish I'd have known I didn't have to do that. It would have been such a relief. So, you know, as I just said, when you don't get the support that you needed, you then just try and plough through, and you end up thinking, I've got to do this on my own, I've got to do this on my own. Because of this feeling of disappointment you get when you don't get the help and support when you've asked for it. Now, this looks like self-sufficiency, but what happens here is that you get stuck with what you know. If you're doing it on your own, how can you get new information to break the patterns? You can't. You're stuck in just what you know. You can't then learn anything different if you stay isolated and in thinking patterns that are not serving you. You need external input. You need help to shift these belief patterns that you've got that are hurting you. Just because you haven't had the help before, or that no one was around that could help you, doesn't mean this is always going to be the case. So to break open this belief of possibility in terms of getting help is really important. You know, your evidence base at the moment is suggesting that you're on your own with it. You will always be the one to help others, but no one will help you. I want you to break through this. This kept me stuck for a very, very long time. Being willing to open your mind here and being willing to seek help is the only way you can learn new things. I wish I could have known this sooner. I really, really do. That I could have been confident that there is someone who will help, someone who could help me to heal. I wish that in my first attempts to get help that I'd have moved on and tried again and again and again until I got the right person. Because that's okay. in that search, that, you know, if you're working with somebody and it doesn't feel right, or it doesn't get you the results that you want, move on. Find that person that will. A little by the way, talking therapy doesn't work. I tried it for years, and it's only in sort of my training as a therapist that I've come to understand why this was not helpful at all to me. It's invaluable in one way because it allows you to get things off your chest. If you haven't had anybody to speak to, that in itself can be really, really healing, to feel as though that you can share all of the stuff that's going on inside of you. So that's an invaluable experience to start off with. But in terms of shifting the belief patterns that you need to shift, it won't work. Reliving the past by talking about it over and over can only reinforce the past and the pain that goes with it. It just keeps it there and makes it bigger. Past pain needs to be resolved from the present. Looking back into it to that degree won't do anything but keep it there. So that's whether you're actually doing this in therapy or whether you're doing this, you know, internally in your own mind. You know, I always say in a therapy sense you need to glance back but not stare at the past. It's important to be resolved, but we do that from the here and now. Can you relate? Can you relate to all of this? If you've got any questions or any comments, I'm really always happy to hear from you. Just let me know, and I'll help you out as much as I can. As a final thought for you, keeping the thinking patterns that you've got can only produce more of what you've got already. You know, nothing is going to change because it's a regeneration of a thought pattern. Your mind is extremely powerful, and you have within you so much choice and control over how you feel and what you create in your personal world. You may not know how yet, but trust me, this is the case. Peace is an option. Do you believe this is possible for you now? If the answer is no, let me know, and I might be able to do some writing around it to help you, because in this case, if your mind's saying, no, it's not possible for me, your mind is lying to you. It's a big fat lie, and I can help you sort that out. So I hope you found this useful. As I say, any questions or any comments, let me know. I will put the link to the website above this video, below this video, wherever it comes out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you will be the first to know when new content comes out. I've got a lot in the pipeline of things I want to share with you. You won't want to miss it. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Get over to the website, get your free resources, get involved in the Facebook group. I'd love to hear from you and for you to get more and more involved. So till next time, I will speak to you very soon. Bye for now.